I'm joined by is pop legend Marc Almond. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. See, I introduced you as pop legend, but I don't know, do you feel like it's pop? Because the body of work that you've done has been influenced by so many different genres. It's almost like you've created your own in a way.
Well, I don't think of myself as obviously a pop legend. It's nice when people refer to you as a pop legend and you get called a national treasure. But I always say a national treasure is something you either put out on a valued thing you put out on display for everyone to see, or some old relic that you stick, a dusty old relic you stick away in a cupboard. So it depends which way you want to look at it. But it's nice. I mean, it's nice when you get those accolades by people. I've been around a long time now. I think I'm kind of, so it's kind of, it's a nice thing when people call you. I think I've earned. You have to earn the right to be called those things, and icon, things like that. And some people are just called icon these days when they've had like the first record out. They're an icon. Yeah. They're a legend, and that for me is not. At least I've been around a long time. I can maybe sort of be justified in that.
One thing that surprised me is that you're a massive Jethro Tull fan.
I love all kinds of music. I love progressive music. I love blues rock. I love glam rock. I love punk. I mean, when I grew up through the 60s and 70s, I kind of embraced all the different kinds of music I grew up with. I was going to concerts when I was 13 or 14, my first concerts out on my own. I was buying records when I was 13, the first records I bought. I watched all the shows through the 60s and 70s religiously, pop shows. And I kind of love all kinds of different kinds of music. And yeah, one of the first records I bought was a Jethro Tull record.
Was it? What one?
It was kind of Witch's Promise.
Okay.
By Jethro Tull. And I mean, it's kind of strange because strange things happen when you've been around a long time in your career. You kind of meet a lot of the people that you kind of grew up, liking as a fan. And I kind of know Ian Anderson really well now. And
You've worked with him.
I took part in Thick as a Brick.
Yeah.
His kind of prog rock classic album at the Albert Hall, and I do kind of charity shows with him as well sometimes. So it's kind of nice when there's some people who you like to keep really occasional, like I never met David Bowie, for example, and I never met him. I had a chance to meet him on many occasions, and I never did, and I kind of like that in a way, that he was a distant star that I could never ever kind of meet.
So what was the first gig that you went to then?
The first gig I went to was Van de Graaff Generator.
Oh my God!
At Leeds Polytechnic. Yeah, when I was about 13 or 14, about 14 years old in 1971, it might have been something like that. 70, 71, 70, something like that. And I started going out to concerts. I mean, when I lived in Leeds, I was at school in Leeds at the time, and all the bands came to Leeds. They played at the university or at the town hall. And I was just allowed to go out, when I was that age, I was that age to go to concerts on my own, and I went on my own. I thought, so I went to quite a few concerts.
Did you used to go on your own?
Yeah, I used to go on my own. Yeah.
Because it's quite young, isn't it, to be allowed to go out?
Yeah, except I went to see T-Rex with a few girls from my school, because at my school you kind of had to hang out with some of the girls. It wasn't the boys like Slade.
Yeah.
The boys like Slade or were still into kind of rock or things, but instead of being a fan of T-Rex and Mark Bolan, it was the girls I hang out with. So I went with a couple of girls, school friends of mine, and we went to see T-Rex at Bradford St George's Hall in 1972.
I love that you remember all this stuff.
Yeah, I danced in the aisles. Like at the time, they called it idiot dancing. You could idiot dance at a concert. He's an idiot dancer. So you danced in the aisles and went down in the mosh pit and everything. And I used to do all that.
And you went to art college. Did you want to be a musician, or was it more of an artist in the beginning?
I thought I might do experimental. I made my own little experimental music things. I did performance art and experimental theatre. I thought that's the direction I would go in, to do experimental performance art and theatre. Maybe film, maybe independent film. I studied film and things like that. I made my own little Super 8 films. Yeah. And I put on my little own sort of experimental theatre performances. And I made my own musical soundtracks to go with them. We had a little sound studio there.
Right.
Whether it was just guitars or... It was kind of the time, when I was at art college was the time of punk. So punk was really big then. I was a big Susie and the Banshees fan as well, and I loved all the whole punk thing was a real influence to me. Making these little homemade soundtracks, and that's when I met Dave Ball. So he was making bleepy sounds on this strange thing called a synthesizer in his in the studio there. So I kind of was attracted to him and drawn to him because I thought he could be a great person to work with for making soundtracks to my performances.
Well, I think you were right there. It definitely worked out quite well, didn't it, that meeting? So if you think about everything that you learned at art college, how much of that has influenced what you've done throughout your career?
It's influenced a lot. It taught me, at art college, it taught me to be very sort of self-productive, to be very self-motivated, to have a strong, a kind of, to have a strong sense of what I wanted to do and a strong image of what I wanted to do. And I suppose that's when I found myself, I became a pop star, which was almost by accident rather than design. I kind of fought against it we both did. Dave and I, we were both art students, and we thought, well, these corporate people are telling us what to do or how to dress or how to perform. And that was a real thing for the first year. It was just a battle, us and them. And it really shouldn't have been, really, because I think the record companies are what they are. And they wanted, to make you sell records, obviously, and to make the best of yourself when you're on top of the pops and things like that. But for us, we wanted to do it our way. I wanted to dress the way I wanted to dress. Dave wanted to be this kind of miserable person, sort of psychotic person behind a keyboard, whatever. So and they said, can't you just be more cheerful, can't you, or things like that, or can't you be more sort of... I think that's when we found ourselves wearing party hats and blowing party poppers on the front of smash hits. Yeah. We kind of thought, this is not really us. You. At all,
well,
really.
I suppose that's the punk element of you as well, isn't it? Really, sort of.
We fought against the grain. Yeah, we did. We felt we were kind of anti-establishment art students, kind of coming from a time of punk and things. A very individual time to music like glam rock and all that kind of thing. I liked kind of more very rebellious kind of singers. People like Jacques Brel I liked as well. Some of these kind of rebellious singers that sang about these gritty sides of life, and it was at odds with me being a pop star in a way. But at the same time, I kind of embraced it as well. Yeah. I did like it, and I did learn how to become a better pop star. And now, of course, 35 odd years later, I know I can be a better pop star like people want me to be.
So when you mention about your image and stuff, and you love that side of it, and that was what you wanted to do, and Dave could just be the miserable one behind the keys. What was that? So that was a conscious decision to say, right, actually, I want to create this image so that for the public, they can, I'm identifiable with the public. They can see who I am. Was that? I
think I homed into that. I think I was very much myself. I've always kind of liked wearing black and being a bit of a gothy punk, and I came from that. And I kind of saw this. I love this thing called Juliette Greco, which is a French torch singer, chanteuse singer, who wore this thick black eye makeup, and it was very mysterious and things. It was very sort of, and I loved that, and I loved there's a film called The Rebel with Tony Hancock, where it's a comedy film where he goes to Paris and he meets all these existential kind of arty people from the left bank, and they've all got thick black eye makeup on and thick, probably based on Juliette Greco's look and everything. So I loved that look, so I took that kind of look, and that's the kind of look I kind of wanted to do, a bit kind of Juliette Greco, sort of existentialist mixed with kind of gothic punk, gothic punk sort of glam. I liked leather jackets, I liked rock and roll as well, so it was a bit of a mix of all that kind of stuff.
Now I've been on my own for many a year. Seems like I'll never get love. Got me a hand on this brother of mine, and I'm gonna get me the rub.
And was it Mother Fist that you recorded at Abbey Road?
I recorded it, a lot of it at Abbey Road, yeah, I did.
Was it true that you brought in a load of velvet curtains?
We did. The producer, Mike Hedges, I was working with, and had this suggestion. Said, I think we need to get the ambience. It was in this control room. It was a bit kind of. It was just it was quite BBC.
What studio was it?
It was the one that overlooks the big live room.
So that's Studio 1, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, I think so. I know it overlooks the big live room. When you go down the steps and you're in the live room, yeah.
It's massive, isn't it?
It's all a bit BBC in there. It's a bit kind of old school in there. And we thought, so we hired in loads of velvet drapes and cushions and embroidered things, and we kind of hung them up all over the studio and made a little boudoir, like a velvet sort of velvet boudoir in there, which was nice.
And then dimmed the lights and...
We dimmed the lights, yeah, which was it was lovely actually. It cost a fortune to do.
I can imagine, because that is a really big room, and the ceilings are really high as well.
Yeah, so it was a very extravagant thing to do.
So when you're recording, would you get dressed up in the sort of image that you were going
No,
for
I
that
don't
time?
really.
No, you would go
I'm a bit, I like to be comfortable, to be comfortable when I'm working
the
in the
tracksuit
studio.
and trainers are out.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but
Well, if I imagine you're in a trackie, not
well, you'd be very surprised. Just don't think of me in a onesie.
No, oh my God, yeah. No. Actually, maybe I can imagine you more in a onesie than a tracksuit.
I'm saying nothing.
But it would have to be a velvet onesie, maybe. Oh my God. Right, on that note,
Yeah.
Marc, it was lovely chatting to you.
Nice to talk to you too.